What's going on, everyone? I hope you're having an amazing day. Guys, today's video, we're going to be talking about something that I noticed from the Japanese anglers since day one of the Bassmaster Elite Series over at Toledo Bend. Koya Fujita took the win at that event using scoping techniques, forward-facing sonar, of course, lighter wire hooks, and now congrats to Taku, who just took his second victory in the Elite Series at Smith Lake. You know, one of the big things that gets me with the Japanese anglers is they are extremely proficient with a spinning rod and reel. A lot of the American market is not yet centered around this, and I can see a big shift going to the spinning rod, whether it's a Nico rig, a Ned rig, a drop shot, forward-facing specific minnow pinging. A lot of these techniques, guys, are using a lot light wire hooks, and it seems like the Japanese have really dialed in how not to lose these fish. So if you're losing fish on your spinning setups, this video is for you. If you want to become more proficient with the spinning setup, this video is also for you. So guys, stay tuned. We've got an amazing one. Let's talk about it. Starting off, I do want to start kind of at the beginning, at the origin of the spinning rod and reel in the average American, growth through their fishing life. So I'm sure a lot of you starting out when you started fishing, and you did start with a spinning reel, whether it was a Spinncaster spinning reel, right? All right, y'all, I do want to preface this video and kind of start out at the beginning of where a lot of us started. A lot of us started with a rod and reel combo just like this, maybe a Lew's or an Abu Garcia or a Bass Pro Shops 7-foot medium heavy spinning rod, a kind of do it all that they told you it does it all. You can throw braid on here, you throw straight fluorocarbon, throw weightless Senkos, crankbaits, and it does it all, right? So when it comes to starting off with something like this, it's a 7-foot, it's pretty, extremely fast, it's very heavy and not made for throwing a lot of those extremely light wire techniques, we kind of get conditioned to only throw those spinning rods when it gets really, really tough. And that's kind of where I was starting out. I had, 5 bait casters to my 1 spinning, and I know a lot of people going through the fishing industry that literally don't even own or even put the spinning rod in the boat, or if they take it, bank fishing or something like that, a lot of people don't take it and really just prefer throwing a bait caster. Now, one of the things that I've noticed going through my time fishing personally, whether it's at a pond or on the lake or whatever, whenever I bring the spinning rod out, I'm just getting more bites. And a lot of my philosophy with fishing is just I like going out and catching fish. Of course, with the new technology, forward-facing sonar, and really dialing in like your ponds and stuff, I'm able to target those bigger bass even with the spinning rod, whether it's a wacky rig or I'm throwing a weightless Senko Texas rig, or I'm doing something really specific like a fluke rig or something like that. The spinning rod to me just gets a lot more bites. Now, with the bait casters, you've got a little extra muscle in there, especially if you're fishing around grass and you're frogging and you're throwing some bigger jigs and you're doing all these other techniques. To me, I can do a lot of that on a spinning rod. Now, for those of you who aren't proficient with a spinning rod right now, I definitely want to show you the other side of this. You can do a lot of heavier techniques with a spinning rod. Tim throws 5/8 ounce and 3/4 ounce wobble heads on a spinning rod. We have spinning rods here from Miller Rods. This, the Spin Freak. That thing is like a 7'8", medium heavy, like almost like medium heavy plus. And it launches baits, especially those big wobble heads that he throws. He'll throw some bigger crankbaits on it. And guys, it is just a different feeling, it's a different feeling from a traditional bait caster, right? You've got this oscillation thing. A lot of people do switch hands. I'm a hand switcher when it comes to the spinning. I like to reel bait cast right and then reel spinning left. It's just different. It's a different casting method. A lot of people can't time when to let go at the right time to get a good skip or cast, and they're almost like, well, I'm just going to throw a bait caster. Now, I really do want to talk about the Japanese specifically when it comes to not losing fish, because this is one of the major keys. I watched Taku lose like 1 fish during the Bassmaster event at Smith Lake. Koya may have lost 1 fish, but typically these Japanese anglers, they have it so dialed in to their retrieve, to the hook set. Everything about their stuff is just screaming, this is like top tier perfection. They have got this dialed in. They must be teaching it in their schools, because Taku, Koya, Kenta, they all have very similar methods to their hook set and their whole basically routine as they set the hook on fish, whether it's forward-facing sonar or not. Most of the time it is. Of course, Taki was throwing the Neko rig, and he was throwing the little fuzzy dice on a little finesse hook. And Koya, he was out there pinging a minnow with very light wire hooks, guys. So when I talk about light wire hooks, I'm not talking about your average, just real thick Gamakatsu drop shot or wacky hook. I'm talking like these guys here. Like this is a Picasso jig head for forward-facing sonar stuff, and this one here, my personal favorite, the Spear Point Hooks GP Finesse size 3. You can see how small that hook gauge is. Another great one that we have here are the Finesse drop shots. Very, very thin gauge hooks. Now, I will tell you, a lot of people see these hooks, the very, very light wire hooks, and they say, I'm not going to be able to land a fish. I can't boat flip a fish. Now, you're right. You know, when you get those 6, 7, 8 pounders, you're not going to be able to boat flip them anyway, probably. You're going to go down and grab them or net them. But I'll tell you, I was out on the pond last week. I got a ton of bug bites down my leg. I was throwing this little tiny GP Finesse number 3. Extremely matted vegetation, extremely dense cover. And I'm throwing a wacky rig Senko out there for these fish, and I am skull dragging them into the bank with these little light wire hooks. Trust me, these hooks are built for more than you think. You know, I really wish they put like a pound test rating on hooks like they do with line. And that's another thing. The Japanese, they're throwing a lot heavier line than you'd normally think. Actually, from their counterparts in America here, a lot of the Japanese anglers on their spinning setups are actually throwing like 20 to 25 pound braided line. This is a great one here, Sunline Overwatch. It's 16 pound, but it is still almost just as small as like 10 pound Smackdown. So this is also another one that I do really love. Personally, 10 pound Smackdown for me, plenty strong enough. I've never broken that braid. And a lot of the guys too, you know, a lot of when they go up north for smallmouth and stuff, they'll use 8 to 10 pound line, but a lot of the time they're using some 14 to 16 pound leaders, so very heavy leaders. And when they set the hook, guys, this is one of the biggest keys I see with the Japanese anglers. When they are setting the hook, they are laying into them like it's no tomorrow. Now, this isn't going to be a comparison from slacklining with a bait caster to doing this with a spinning rod, but they are not putting almost any slack in the line. They are reeling all the way down. They are getting a big full hook set, you know, not a real quick snappy one. They are doing a full hook set. So they are reeling all the way down, you know, reeling, make sure to keep it tight to that fish. So as soon as they feel that connection, they've got their rod tip up just enough to allow them to dip. So they're gonna reel, feel that fish, dig down. They're gonna dig down, drive that hook all the way back. And one big thing about these anglers from Japan, you know, the Japanese market, they don't use a lot of rods over 7.6 ever. I mean, most of their rods, especially their spinning, are going to be from 6'4" to 6'8". I know Koya, I believe his signature Daiwa casting rod is a 6'5", if not 6'6". And then I know Taku especially likes a lot shorter rods as well. You know, some people say that it's the stature and of the Japanese anglers. They don't, you know, the benefits of having a longer rod are going to be the exact same thing as me. I'm basically almost 6 foot. I'm 5'11". I absolutely love a 7'6" rod, mainly because I've talked about it. The parabolic action that you get out of a 7.6 rod, especially for fish coming out of a brush pile where they usually rocket up, or smallmouth especially, that longer rod is greatly beneficial. You hear Canadian anglers talking about a lot longer rods. Down here in the South, you know, Texas, Arkansas, Alabama, a lot of people generally bounce between a 6'10" to around a 7'4". Don't really go over that mark. Not that it's needed all the time. You know, regionally, a lot of the times your fish are going to tell you kind of what is best to fight them with. So, you know, there isn't one right answer. I do have a lot of 6'10s. I have a lot of 7'6s. I've got one like 7'3" even. But But the Japanese anglers, they do use a little bit shorter rods, so that might be part of the reason as they're reeling down a lot more and really setting the hook. A lot of the times they run to the back of the boat to maintain that full pressure, and they're using a pretty heavy rod, right? They're going to be using something like this X-Pride here. This is a 6'10" medium heavy. It's got a little bit of a backbone moving in here, but a very soft, slower action tip, which is a big thing as well. The Japanese, it seems like on their rods, have a lot more slower and moderate action at the tip and a lot stronger backbone. That way, I think as they reel down, you know, it's really gonna load. It's not gonna be pulling back, and if that fish makes a quick movement, it's not gonna matter as much because of that softer tip. It can take it, and then they really hit them with the backbone. And that's one of the really cool things I love about the Japanese anglers when they're setting the hook. I mean, they really get down into it. Rod tip generally slightly pointed up once they do, and then they drop down, reel, and really drive that hook home. And a lot of the time, like I said, they are driving that hook extremely hard, even with these lighter techniques. Range roller jig heads, they've got a very light wire, longer shank hook, which you can bend out a lot easier. And I'm sure they've even got some really, really neat Japanese tackle that we don't have here, maybe a little more specialty for these. So that is kind of my breakdown on the Japanese techniques when it comes to the forward-facing sonar, light wire, spinning rod setups, guys. We did just get this in. This is an X-Pride again, 6'10", medium heavy. We also have a medium, which is an amazing dock skipping rod. That thing loads extremely well. It's not going to have the backbone throughout the back half here. It's going to be a little more medium throughout the entire rod. Some other great options, guys, if you're looking for a Loomis rod, this is going to be a 863 GLX. Again, the GLX, guys, uses the blanks similar to the old NRX style. This one is a 7'1". It's going to be extremely similar to this X-Pride medium heavy. Very soft, a little bit faster tip, just a little bit. And this is going to be kind of my do-all rod. 7'1", I can do whatever I want on this one. It's going to be a 3 power, which is, they call it a medium heavy in the GLX line. It's not medium heavy. This thing is more like a medium. And this is, I believe, the DSR, the drop shot rod. Yeah, the drop shot rod. So again, it's going to have that little slower tip and taper into some more backbone there. So this is another great option if you're looking to get into throwing a lot more of the spinning stuff. I highly recommend it because a lot of the time, guys, like I said at the beginning of the video, the spinning rod, it seems like it gets a lot more bites. A wacky rig, a fluke. You can throw all these lighter lures a lot easier with it, and you can make some really pinpoint casts, get it up under docks, and it's just a joy to fish, guys. So follow our Instagram and Facebook for all the cool updates for the shop. And guys, again, one more time, I appreciate it, and definitely check out the fundraiser we've got going on for Andrew Carroll. I'm going to link that video down in the description there. So every $10 you donate to his GoFundMe, guys, we're going to give you one entry into the massive raffle we've got going on. So go watch that video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time. I like Pro Tackle. See ya.